Hello everybody, welcome to today's video. I have to be honest with you, I thought I was done doing videos about new Fujifilm cameras in 2025. But as you can tell by the title of this video, there's one more. Here it is, the X-T30 III. You have to pause there. It's not the 33, it's the 30 III. So here's what I'm going to do in this video. Do a little bit of an intro here. This is mostly it. Second, we'll do disclaimers. Then we'll give you some context about where this camera fits in the world. Then we'll do, what else are we doing? Then we're going to do some specs. We'll talk a little bit about ergonomics of this camera, and we'll talk about the lens as well. And then we'll show some photos, and then I'll have some concluding thoughts. So let's start with disclaimers as part of the introduction. First, this is a pre-production camera that I have. This is given to me to borrow, to loan, by Fujifilm as part of my work at Kenmore Camera, where I'm the social media manager. If you don't know who they are, kenmorecamera.com. Speaking of that, I'll put on my sales hat for just a moment and say if you're interested in pre-ordering this camera or ordering it at any time, there'll be a link to kenmorecamera.com to do that. Thank you very much. Other disclaimer, intro kind of things. Fujifilm has not seen this video before I publish it. So there's that, a little bit more, not disclaimer-ish, but information for you. First, I guess I should tell you, I'm recording this kind of at a weird time. Usually I do my videos on the weekend during the late morning. I'm doing this at night after work. So if it's a little scattered, a little... that's partially why. Also, I have a headache. So, but I need to record it tonight because it fits my schedule. It fits the limited amount of time I still have with this camera, and I wanted to show it to you. Secondly, disclaimer-wise, intro-wise, is I'm recording this a couple weeks before the launch date, the announcement date, and I don't have all the data on this camera yet. I've explored the menus and I've discovered a couple little things I'm curious about, and I'll share those with you, but there's a couple things I'm not sure of, and future Michael might hop in somewhere in the video and give you more information on that. If you have questions, leave them in the comments below. If I don't get them to answer the questions before this video is posted, I will leave it in a comment below with some additional information. So there you go. Hope that helps. As always, ask questions if you have them. All right, let's start with context of where this camera fits. So it's an important camera for Fujifilm. It's their entry-level camera. It is a good starter camera for a lot of people, maybe a second camera, and it's also small and light. So let's talk a little bit about where it fits and go from there. All right, so where this camera fits, we'll start with the X-T5, which is at $19.99 after the tariff price adjustments and things like that. So here's some specs on that. That is a 5th generation camera, so it uses the X-Trans 5 sensor and X processor 5 for the brains. It's got 40 megapixels plus in-body image stabilization, and it records 4K 60 video and 6.2K 30 video. So some cool video specs. Here's some of the other differentiators that are kind of quick and easy to talk about. The electronic viewfinder on the X-T5 and the X-H2 and X-H2S is the best that Fujifilm makes at 3.69 megapixel. Higher density, brighter, larger. And then the LCD on the back is 3 inches with 1.84 million dots in it. So lots of dots. You got dual card slots on this and the larger battery. So that's some of the main differentiators between the X-T5 and the cameras that follow. Also in the X-T line, then we have the X-T50. I call it the X-T5 Lite. It's a little smaller, a little lighter, but it has the same most of the same guts, if you will. At $15.99, it also has the same processor and sensor as the X-T5, also the same 40 megapixels plus IBIS. Here's where the differences start though. You only get 4K 30 and you don't get the 6.2K video. So what that means, I don't know if it's a thermal thing, they're trying to mitigate heat in a smaller body, or just to exclude those features for cost. Similarly for cost, it has a lower resolution and slightly smaller electronic viewfinder, and then the LCD on the back is the same as the X-T5 as far as resolution. You get one memory card for this and the smaller battery. If you get an X-T5 or X-T50 or any of the cameras that use this smaller battery, my suggestion is your second investment is a second or maybe even third battery. It will go through them like crazy. All right, let's get to our star. Well, not quite the star, our previous star, the X-T30 Pause 2. So the X-T30 II was $999. So entry level, under $1,000, nice place to be. X-Trans 4 with X Processor 4, so 4th generation previous stuff. 26 megapixels, no stabilization. Video is also limited to 4K 30, and then the viewfinder is the same viewfinder, I believe, as in the X-T50, the same resolution anyway. The LCD on the back, while the same size, is a little bit lower resolution, fewer dots. I don't know that I can really see the difference. It might be a little bit less expensive panel to keep the cost down. And again, we've got one memory card slot and one smaller battery. So that brings us to today's star, the X-T30 III. So still at $999. That's a pretty significant price point psychologically, obviously, from thinking about keeping it reasonable for lots of people. I'm really glad they kept it at this price, so that's a good thing. The way they did that is they're using the older sensor, X-Trans 4 sensor. It's the only 26 megapixel sensor they still have left, as far as I know, except for the stacked one in the XH2S. But now we're running the current generation processor, which opens up some neat options. I'll talk about them later. We're at 26 megapixel, and it does not have IBIS. It has digital stabilization. I just read in some notes today. I have to uncover a little bit more of what that means. Wait for a note later maybe on that. But I'm pretty sure it's mostly for video, because digital stabilization uses a crop, and then you're going to lose some of the megapixels if you do that when you're at, which is less important when you're doing video because you're already using less of the sensor anyway. For video, we got 4K 60, then 6.2K open gate, which records the full sensor, which is kind of cool. And again, the new processor enables that, the more recent one. And the same generation of EVF and LCD, plus one memory card slot, plus one smaller battery. So that's the basic differences. That's what we've got going on with this X-T30 version 3. So that's the basics of what makes up this camera. The body, I'm pretty sure, is mostly the same. There's a couple new things. I'll cover those in the features in a minute. But mostly the body's the same. It's going to feel very familiar if you're used to the X-T30 version 2. So we also have a new lens, the XC 13-33mm f3.5-6.3 OIS. So this lens has optical image stabilization. I'll talk more about the lens in a minute. Let's talk about the camera first, a little bit about ergonomics, using it in my experience. So we'll walk across the top. So looking across the top of the camera, starting on the left, you're going to see something different from version 2. And that is the film simulation dial from some of the other recent X-series cameras is now here. It replaces the drive mode dial on the X-T30 II. So film sim, and the interface is the same as on recent versions. You get a neat little on-screen animation that shows you what film simulation you've chosen. So I'll just show you that. I'll do a better version of this too, but it looks something like this. Let's find that. So there's the film sim. So you get to see what that looks like. So that's a neat way to see how the film simulations work. Also, what this has is it has 3 empty slots for film simulations to either assign your own or build your own custom recipe to go in those slots at your own choosing. So there's that. Again, across the top, the rest is the same. We got a shutter speed dial. We have an auto switch here, and then we have, what's that called? That's called exposure compensation. So that's pretty much the same as previous X-T30 cameras. I really like that they've retained the focus mode switch, an actual physical switch from single focus to continuous to manual. That's kind of nice. We have the same feeling control wheels front and back here. Around the back side, we've got a small joystick. We've also got the menu button, display in back. We got the Q up here, more on that in a second. And then we have the articulating screen. We have 2-direction articulation here. We can go up or down, horizontally, basically. We don't get the vertical articulation like you get on the X-T5 screen, so you can pull it down and it would be down here. So when you're doing a vertical photo, this is a little harder. Not the end of the world, but it's a little harder. So there's that. That's how all that works. Now, one person's opinion on small cameras. That person being me. In my opinion, small cameras are great for putting in a bag and getting you from where you are to where you're going. You really appreciate the small camera, the size and weight then. But at least for me, as soon as I pick one up, the enjoyment stops in a lot of ways for me. Yes, it's nice that it's light, but I used this for a couple hours for some street photography last weekend, and my hand was actually more sore than using my big XH2S with a big lens on it, because the XH2S has a nice grip. So I'm actually holding on tighter to this than I am my larger camera. I don't use a strap usually, so I'm always holding my camera. So unless I'm gonna wear this, this is actually harder for me to use than my larger, heavier camera. My opinion. Also, with my hands that I've had my whole life, and also that I'm left eye dominant, so I put this up to my left eye, and that means as I'm holding the back of the camera, what I tend to do is shift my thumb to the right to get out of the way of my glasses and putting my knuckle on it. That means I'm triggering the Q button all the time. My thumb slides over here, and I'm triggering the Q button. This layout doesn't work for my physiology. So there you go. But it's a nice camera. It feels good. All the things feel quality. So there's that. But it doesn't work well for me. But it's nice and small and light. It's really cool. Everybody, when we showed it around the store, was like, oh, that's nice. That's small. It's light. So people appreciate that, at least on a first impression. So let's talk about the lens for a little bit. This new lens, the XC 13-33mm f3.5-6.3. So it's a daylight lens, and it's also got optical image stabilization. So this lens will retail by itself for $399, $400 US. But when you get it with the kit with the camera, it's basically $150. The camera's $999. The camera with the lens will be $1149.95 US dollars. So almost a no-brainer. This lens is all plastic, except for the optical elements. Fujifilm, one way they save money on lenses like this is to make them out of plastic, but they keep the optical formula from some of their higher-end lenses, their better optical lenses, into these kind of lenses. At least that's the history. The mount is plastic, the body's plastic, very compact. It is a lens that retracts to this small size, and then to use, you have to unlock it, and then you get a double zoom. So you can see that's 13 millimeters, and then I'll zoom to 33, it goes in, then goes back out. So that's just a way to make this lens small and light. It is very light. It's only about 4 ounces in weight. Almost non-existent as far as feeling. But one of the cool things on this lens is the zoom is very smooth. Some of the other XC lenses that I've had experience with, they're not as smooth as this. So this feels nice. No aperture ring on this lens, so you would control the aperture if you wanted to through the control wheels on the camera. The command wheels, I can never remember if it's a command or control wheel. Anyway, one of the wheels on the front or back of your camera. Secondly, because it's so tiny, you can see, let's see if I can show you that better. So here's the zoom ring, this inner ring, and this outer ring is the focus ring. So for, again, my physiology, translation fat hands, is it's hard for me to just kind of get the zoom lens without moving the focus. It's not a big deal, but it's not intuitive yet. I need to develop some muscle memory with this layout because it's so tiny. Again, small, it's nice when you're putting it in a bag, going from point A to point B, and you can hardly feel it. But as soon as I take it out, the usability isn't as pleasant an experience as I am used to with certain other cameras and lenses. So again, one person's opinion. Your mileage may vary. So next, how do the images look? How do the photos look? There's really no surprises image-wise. This sensor's been around for a while, a whole long time. I believe this sensor's been around for, let's see, I'm probably doing the math, probably about 6 years, 5, 6 years. So no surprises how it looks, no surprises in the autofocus performance. One of the things with autofocus you pick up with the X-Trans 5, the X Processor 5, excuse me, is you get subject detection autofocus. So now you have birds and cars and people and airplanes and vehicles and something else, I can't remember what. Animals. So you can have some smart subject detection, which is really nice and handy. Autofocus with the lens, I meant to mention that, is very fast, very quiet. Some of the other XC lenses have been a little on the noisy side. Some of the small lenses from Fujifilm have been on the noisy side. This one's really quiet and quick. Again, no surprises, image quality with this combo. The photos I'm going to show you in a moment, speaking of those, are JPEGs that have been processed to my taste in Lightroom Classic. So again, pre-release, I can't do RAWs because Lightroom can't open them yet. So we'll take a look at those photos in a minute. What else I want to talk about? Trying to remember. Let me check my notes. I'll be back in a second. Hey, I'm back. It's like I hardly went away at all. Anyway, so let's talk about image quality and using this lens and camera combo. So let's take a look at a photo and then we'll go from there. So this detail shot in a salvage yard in Seattle, really easy to focus with this lens. It focuses quick, as I mentioned. It focuses close. I think it's about a 4-inch from the front of the lens. As you can see, good detail, good color, all the things. Even at f6.3, you do get a blurry background. I'll talk about bokeh in a minute. And other lens characteristics, but sensor and lens combo, it works nicely. Really happy with this. So this photo I have made a bunch of times with different camera and lens combos, so I kind of know what it's supposed to look like, and on a sunny day, this is what it looks like. No surprises. It looks good to me. I think all is good to go. That should be f6.3 there on my screen. Apologies to my, I don't have an editor, so it's all my fault. This was kind of a fun little opportunity in that there was a crow sitting on a ledge here in this building, and then as I was framing it up, he took off, or she, and so I got this photo. Neat moment. Again, this is what it looks like. I'm used to this kind of rendering from Fujifilm cameras and lens combos, so no surprises here. Just happy it works well. Again, here's 13mm going wide. It's nice to have that little bit of extra wide angle view at 13mm instead of 16 or 18 that we usually start at with a kit type lens. So that's nice. Get this cool perspective on these buildings in Bellevue. Another photo I've made many times. At 18mm, I like this composition. Again, it looks the way I expect it to look, so that's a good thing. Some detail here on this little bit of a plant, and a nice, easy autofocus up close. You can see a little bit of the bokeh effect, the blurry balls of light in the background. They're not super large and blurry. They are small and indistinct, so I think that's a function of focal length and relatively small maximum aperture opening. So there's that, and that's the name of. So there you have it. Some photos from the X-T30 III with the XC13 to 33mm, which would be, by the way, I forgot to mention this part, that's about a 20 to 50mm equivalent in full frame terms of field of view. So what do I think? I think it's a neat camera. I'm glad it exists. I'm glad we have options for a camera that's $1,000 for the body and not much more with this pretty nice little entry-level lens. So as a combo, I'm really glad it exists. I think it's a great lens, as I mentioned at the beginning, for someone looking to get into this type of camera away from a phone, and they want something more capable than the super popular old point-and-shoot 6-7-year-old Canon and others point-and-shoot cameras they're fun, but they're not as capable as this. You might, in my opinion, use your phone, but no one asked me. So it's a good entry level. It's the price point at $1,000 is really important psychologically. I'm glad it exists. Again, for me, there's some things usability wise that I would have to learn to work my way around because it's different than my regular camera. But this camera I don't think is really designed for me. The cool thing is, again, we have options and choices. Oh, I forgot to mention one thing. You also get a pop-up flash with this. That's kind of fun. For those of you who like pop-up flashes and that driver's license photo look. Anyway, sorry, I told you it was late at night. This is going to be different. Not late at night, it's 7:30 my time. But it's later than I usually record a video, so anyway. This would also be potentially a good second camera. If you're already in the Fujifilm ecosystem and you want something small, light, capable, going to feel very familiar, the menu's the same, all that good stuff. This will be a good potential option for a second camera for you carry around, or maybe your travel camera when you want to travel small and light and as inconspicuous as possible. This would be a good one for you. So I'm going to close this video with a prediction and then an invitation. So the prediction is, I think this will probably, well, not probably, I think this is going to be the last of the 5th generation Fujifilm cameras. We're coming up on 4 years in spring or summer of 2026 on the 5th generation. So I'm expecting 6th generation sometime then. Related to that prediction, I have a plan to do a video on what I think the first camera will be in the launch of that 6th generation, plus a wish list for what I would love to see it in an XH3S, assuming that camera gets made. So stay tuned for that. And then an invitation. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, it's a little disjointed, it's a little rushed, it's a little discombobulated in some ways. If you have questions that something I said didn't make sense or you want additional information, please leave a comment below and I will do my best to answer them. If I don't know the answer directly, I have the email address of Fujifilm Tech Rep, so I can ask them and get some info for you. So there you go. Glad this camera exists. Might be the last of the line, but it's a great value, and for lots of folks, it'll be a really, really good fit with all the usual Fujifilm goodness inside. So that's my video. Thanks for watching. I appreciate all of you. Look forward to conversations in the comments below. I'll see you again sometime soon. I'm not sure when. Maybe another evening goofy thing. Who knows? So until then, I hope you stay safe, stay well, and have fun creating photos. Bye for now.